flint and steel.
Heat. All the living beings in this planet need heat. It has been needed ever since the first living beings stepped on Earth. It has been one of the main components of our daily life. Without heat, not just every human gets frozen, but rather the whole world will be frozen. Just imagine if you were teleported to the North Pole without any heat sources available. You can even last a day or even hours. Therefore, we're here to explain what is heat and how is it important not to only us humans, but rather the whole world too.
Okay, good day everyone. Today, I actually want to talk to you about a concept that affects us every day, which is heat. Whether you're warming up your hands by a fire or watching the steam rise from a cup of tea, you're actually witnessing the physical principles of heat in action. But what exactly is heat, right? And how does it work? Well, my friends, we'll dive into that shortly. Okay, alright. In physics, heat is defined as a transfer of thermal energy between objects or systems due to a temperature difference. It's actually very important to recognize that heat isn't a substance, it's a process, a movement of energy from one place to another. Specifically, is the kinetic energy of atoms and molecules in motion, flowing from a warmer object to a cooler one. Now, let's break it down with a few key concepts. First of all, we have temperature. Temperature measures the average kinetic energy of the particles in a substance. The higher the temperature, the faster the particles are moving. But this leads to an important distinction. Temperature is actually not the same as heat. Heat, as I mentioned earlier, is about energy transfer. It's what happens when there's a difference in temperature between two objects. And when there's thermal energy, which is the total kinetic energy of all particles in an object, not just the average. So how does heat move from one object to another? There are three main mechanisms of heat transfer. First of all, we must know that the first mechanism is that we have conduction. So conduction means heat transfer through direct contact. For example, when you stir hot soup with a metal spoon, the handle gradually gets hot, right? That's conduction at work. Molecules in the hot soup collide with the spoon's molecules, transferring energy. The second one is convection, which occurs in fluids, for example, liquids and gases. This happens when warmer, less dense regions rise and cooler, denser regions sink, creating a circulation. A common example is the warm air rising from a heater and circulating around the room. And the third mechanism is that there's radiation. The transfer of heat through electromagnetic waves. This doesn't require any contact or medium. The most familiar example, well, the heat we feel from the sun travels across the vacuum of space. When we measure heat, we usually use joules. Joules. So, joules is the standard unit for energy. Sometimes we use calories, particularly in contexts like food or chemistry. 1 calorie is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Finally, let's revisit the distinction between heat and temperature because it's very critical. Imagine a cup of coffee and a bathtub full of warm water. The coffee may be at a higher temperature, but the bathtub contains much more thermal energy overall, simply because it holds more water. This example helps us see that temperature measures intensity, while heat reflects the total energy transferred. In the end, heat is actually all around us. It shapes weather, powers engines, cooks our food, and drives countless of natural processes. Understanding how it moves and how it measures helps us make sense of the physical world and opens the door to even deeper discoveries in science. I hope I can actually push the iPad. Alright, so continuing from where Dani left off, let's talk about the importance and effects of heat in our daily lives. So first, let us start off by saying heat is more than just a measure of warmth. It's a vital force that supports life, powers industries, and shapes civilizations. From the moments that we wake up to the systems that run our world, heat is everywhere. So first, let's start off with survivability and comfort. Our bodies rely on heat to regulate temperature and keep us functioning. It helps us survive in cold environments and adapt to different climates. We use it to warm our homes, cook our meals, and even dry our clothes. Speaking of food, heat is very important for cooking. This is because it makes food safe by killing harmful bacteria and improves taste and texture. Without heat, many of the meals that we enjoy and the safety of those said meals wouldn't be possible. Next, heat has also had a measurable impact on history. Interestingly, warmer periods have often aligned with the rise of major civilizations. Some researchers believe that higher temperatures have made resources more accessible, enabling social growth. But of course, excessive heat has its downsides, especially for vulnerable populations. So, balance is key to success in this situation. From science to industry, heat is controlled. Thermodynamics, the study of heat and energy, helps us understand how heat moves through conduction, connection, and radiation. This knowledge powers everything from electricity generation to manufacturing and space heating. Now finally, let's talk technology, i.e. thermal imaging. Thermal imaging uses infrared radiation to visualize heat, creating images based on temperature differences. Thermoscopes can see in complete darkness or through smoke and foliage. They're used in military and security operations, wildlife observation, and also search and rescue. But like all tools, thermal imaging has its limitations. It can be affected by humidity, temperature, and pressure. Still, its advantages in low visibility conditions make it incredibly valuable. In summary, heat plays a critical role in our health, safety, comfort, and progress. While you must be cautious of its dangers, especially in a warming world, you must also recognize its power to drive innovation and sustain life. With my speech over, let's pass this presentation back to our narrator.
And now you know how important heat is in our life. That is all from us Sdarians. Thank you for watching.